They said Madam Ekong had the kindest smile in the whole of Rumola community. They said she loved young girls like her own daughters. They said any parent who sent their child to work in her canteen was blessed. But if you looked closely, really looked, at the girls who lived in the room behind her kitchen, if you noticed how their eyes seemed distant even when they smiled, you would see something else entirely. You would see something that would make your skin crawl. But before diving into the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to stay updated. 17-year-old Neoma thought she was being rescued that Wednesday morning. Her aunt held her hand so tight it hurt, standing before Madam Ekong's famous canteen. The smell of jollof rice and fried plantain filled the air. Customers laughed. Money changed hands. Everything looked perfect. Please, more, her aunt begged. Neoma's father is dead. Her mother is struggling. We heard you train girls and pay them well. Please accept her. Madam Ekong's smile spread slowly across her round face. She looked Neoma up and down, the way a trader examines goods at the market. Then she nodded. She will be fine here, Madam Ekong said warmly. Very fine. I will treat her like my own daughter. Neoma smiled with hope. Her aunt thanked God. But behind them, 3 girls moved between tables like shadows. Bisola, 4 years in that place. Yotund, 6 years. Kemi, couldn't even remember when she arrived. That first night, Neoma lay on a thin mat and asked Bisola, "Don't you want to go home?" Bisola stared at the ceiling. Her voice came out flat. "Dead. I will go. Soon. When Madam says I'm ready." "But when would that be?" Silence. In the darkness, Neoma felt something cold wrap around her chest. This wasn't a job. This wasn't training. This was something else. Tebena had ridden his motorcycle through Rumuala for 5 years. He'd seen fights. He'd seen accidents. He'd seen wickedness. But nothing, absolutely nothing, disturbed him like the girls at Madam Ekong's canteen. The way they moved. The way they never quite looked alive. The way their smiles never reached their eyes. He told himself it wasn't his business. Every day, he ate his jollof rice in the corner, watched, and left. Until the day he saw Neoma. She was different. Her eyes still had, what's the word? Light. The others moved like people sleepwalking through life, but Neoma, she still fought. She still saw. When she brought his food that afternoon, Tebena looked at her carefully. "You are new," he said quietly. She nodded. "How long have you been here?" 3 weeks, sir." He paused. Leaned forward. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. "If you ever need help, just say the word." Before Neoma could respond, Madam Ekong's voice cut through the air like a knife. "Neoma. Stop disturbing my customers. Get back to the kitchen. Now." The girl hurried away, but Tebena saw it, the flash of fear in her eyes. Not normal fear. The kind of fear that comes when you realize you're trapped. That night, Tebena couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the other girls. Bisola, 4 years. Yotund, 6 years. How do you work somewhere for 6 years and still look like you arrived yesterday? He made a decision. He would watch closer. He would wait. And when the time came, because it always comes, he would act. Because some things, my people, some things you cannot ignore. Even when they are not your business. Even when it's dangerous. Some things, your spirit won't let you walk away from. Every month, Madam Ekong called the girls to her office. Every month, they walked in with questions in their eyes and walked out with nothing. Empty. Like someone had reached inside their heads and switched off the lights. Tonight was that night. "Sit down," Madam Ekong commanded. Her voice had changed. Gone was the sweet mother. Here was something colder. The girl sat. Bisola. You're turned. Kemi. And now, Neoma. Madam Ekong opened a wooden box on her desk. Inside was a mirror, old, cracked, with a faded red cloth wrapped around its handle. She placed it on the table. The moment it touched the wood, the other girl's eyes glazed over. Just like that. Like someone had pressed pause on their souls. But Neoma felt the pull. Oh, she felt it. Like invisible fingers trying to reach into her mind, trying to grab something precious and lock it away. But it couldn't quite catch. Maybe it was because her brother Dubon prayed for her every single night back in the village. Maybe it was because she was new. Maybe it was because some spirits refused to break. So she pretended. Kept her eyes blank. Stayed still. Madam Ekong began to chant in a language that sounded like broken glass and shadows. The words crawled across Neoma's skin. You will stay until I release you. You will obey without question. You will forget your dreams. You will forget time. You will forget yourself. When it was over, the girls filed out like the walking dead. But Neoma's mind was racing, screaming, fighting. What have I walked into? That night, she heard Madam Ekong on the phone. Yes, the new girl is secured now. The mirror works every time. I've been doing this for 12 years. How many girls? I stopped counting after 50. 50 girls. 50 dreams destroyed. 50 families wondering why their daughters never came home. Neoma bit her hand to keep from screaming. 300 miles away, 14-year-old Dubom woke up gasping. Again. The same dream. Again. Neoma behind glass, calling his name. Neoma reaching out. Neoma trapped. Mama, he said at breakfast, something is wrong with Neoma. His mother sighed. Dubom, stop this nonsense. She sends money every month. She writes letters. Those letters don't sound like her. She never mentions our goat. She never draws smiley faces. She never asks about my friends. That's not Neoma. She's growing up. She's busy. But Dubom knew. The way you know when rain is coming. The way you know when someone is lying. He knew. So he started saving. Every single coin. Fetching water, 5 naira. Selling oranges, 10 naira. Washing cars, 20 naira. His friends laughed at him. His mother scolded him. But Dubom kept saving. 3 months. 3 months of those dead letters. 3 months of nightmares. Then one morning, he had enough. He left a note, gone to bring Neoma home. The bus ride felt like forever. 3 hours of his heart pounding, hands sweating, prayers stumbling out. God, let me not be too late. God, let her be okay. God, give me strength. When he finally reached Rumuala and found the canteen, what he saw through the window stopped his heart. Neoma was there. But she wasn't there. Her body moved. Her hands served food. But her eyes. That's not my sister, he whispered. That's her body, but where is she? He rushed inside. Their eyes met. For 1 second, just one, he saw his sister. Then the fog returned. Dubom, she whispered, confused. What are you doing here? Before he could answer, a shadow fell across them both. Madam Ekong had arrived. Your sister is doing very well here, Madam Ekong said, her smile sharp as broken glass. She's learning. She's not ready to leave. Dubom's voice shook with rage. She's been here for months. Look at her. She doesn't even recognize me properly. Young man, respect yourself. Or I call security. Neoma, pack your things. We are going now. But Neoma just stood there, torn between her brother's voice and something stronger pulling her back. Something invisible. Something wrong. That's when Tebena stood up from his corner table. Slow. Calm. Dangerous. Come, he said to Dubom. Let's talk outside. I'm not leaving without my sister. Tebena's hand on his shoulder was firm but gentle. You cannot win this fight with anger. Trust me. Outside. They left. Dubom was shaking, tears of frustration burning his eyes. I've been watching her for months, Tebena said quietly. Something evil is happening here. Something beyond normal wickedness. Then why haven't you done anything? Because I didn't have proof. But now I have you. And together, we can do what I couldn't do alone. Tebena explained about the office, the whispers at night, his spare key to the back gate. There's something in that office controlling these girls. We take it tonight. And if she catches us? Tebena looked him straight in the eye. Then we better not get caught. They shook hands. A 14-year-old boy. A motorcycle rider. Against a woman who'd enslaved 50 girls. David had fought Goliath with less. Midnight. The canteen sat dark and quiet, like a beast sleeping with one eye open. Tebena and Dubom crouched by the back gate. Remember, Tebena whispered, I knock on the front door. Count to 20. Then you go in. Dubom nodded, his mouth too dry to speak. Tebena disappeared around the corner. Seconds later, bang. 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 Madam Ekong. Emergency. Your shop is on fire. Dubom heard her footsteps thunder past the office. He counted. 15. 16. 17. He slipped inside. The office smelled like fear and old secrets. Moonlight showed him the desk. The wooden box. His hands shook as he opened it. There. The mirror. The moment his fingers touched it, everything changed. The room went cold, not normal cold, the kind that reaches into your bones. Whispers filled his ears. Not one voice. Not two. Dozens. And in the glass, oh God, in the glass. Faces. Girls' faces. Crying. Reaching. Trapped behind the surface like insects in amber. Some looked like they'd been there for years. Some looked fresh. All of them were screaming without sound. Dubom wanted to drop it. Wanted to run. But then he saw something that made his blood freeze. Neoma's face was starting to appear in the glass. Faint. Getting clearer. No, he gasped. No. He wrapped the mirror in his shirt and ran. Behind him, Madam Ekong screamed tore through the night, thief. My mirror. Stop him. But Dubom was already gone, running through the darkness with stolen souls in his arms and his sister's freedom clutched against his chest. The wicked madam's power was in his hands now. And tomorrow, everything would change. Dawn came different that morning. Neoma woke up gasping, like someone had pulled her head out of deep water. Her mind felt clear. For the first time in months, genuinely clear. She looked around the cramped room. Bisola was sitting up, tears streaming down her face. Where am I? Bisola whispered. How long, oh God, how long have I been here? Yotan was shaking, staring at her hands like she'd never seen them before. For years, no, 6. I can't remember my mother's face. I can't remember my mother's face. Kemi stood up suddenly. I had a boyfriend. I was supposed to get married. That was 7 years ago. 7 years. One by one, every girl in that room woke up from a nightmare they didn't even know they were living. The fog was gone. The chains were broken. Their minds were their own again. And with clarity came rage. She stole our lives, Bisola said, her voice deadly quiet. She stole our time. Neoma remembered everything now. The mirror. The monthly meetings. The blank spaces in her memory. But most of all, she remembered Dubom's face at the canteen yesterday. My brother, she gasped. My brother came for me. Outside, they could hear Madam Ekong screaming at the walls, throwing pots, breaking plates. She knew. She knew her power was gone. The girls looked at each other. No words needed. They started packing. By noon, the exodus had begun. First, Bisola walked out. Just walked. No goodbye. No explanation. For years of her life, gone. Then you turned. Then Kemi. Then the others. Madam Ekong stood in the doorway, trembling. Where are you going? You can't leave. You owe me. I fed you. I housed you. You're nothing without me. But her words had no power anymore. They bounced off the girls like rain of stone. Neoma was the last to leave. She stopped in front of Madam Ekong and looked her straight in the eye. You're not a mother. You're not a teacher. You're a thief. You stole our time. Our dreams. Our lives. You're ungrateful. No. We are not ungrateful. We are free. She walked past her, and Madam Ekong grabbed her arm. For a moment, just a moment, Neoma saw what the woman really was, desperate, terrified, finished. Please, Madam Ekong whispered. Don't leave me alone. Neoma pulled her arm away. You were never alone. You had 50 girls around you. But you were too busy controlling us to see us. The canteen that had been full of life, full of movement, full of stolen dreams, stood empty. Customers came, saw the chaos, and left. Word spread like wildfire. The collapse wasn't loud. It was silent. And that's what made it so terrifying. Customers stopped coming. First a few, then most, then all of them. People in the community started talking. Parents of the girls, the ones who had been grateful for the small monthly payments, finally started speaking to each other. My daughter was there for 3 years, she learned nothing. Mine was there for 5, she came back empty. What was that woman doing to our children? Whispers grew louder than screams. People would cross the street to avoid walking past Madam Ekong's canteen. The place that was once the heartbeat of the neighborhood became a tomb. Madam Ekong would open the shop every morning. She would cook the food. She would wait. And no one came. The aroma of jollof rice that once promised joy now smelled like desperation. The empty chairs gathered dust. The silence in that canteen became its own punishment. She was left alone in the dark, surrounded by the ghost of the lives she stole. Trapped not by a mirror, but by her own wicked choices. Her prison had no walls, but she could never leave. While Madam Ekong's world crumbled, Tebena and Dubom had one last task. They took the cursed mirror to Mama Reliot, the old woman who knew about sacred fire. She threw it into the flames. The glass didn't just break, it screamed. A high-pitched wail of 50 stolen voices being set free. Then, silence. The faces in the mirror faded into peace. At the motor park, Neoma found Dubom waiting. She ran to him, held him so tight, and just cried. Tears of pain, of loss, of gratitude. You saved me, she whispered. He held her back. Love always finds a way. My people, let us learn from this. The wicked may build a prison for others, but in the end, they are the only ones left inside. Never underestimate the power of a sibling's love. Never ignore the quiet voice that says, something is wrong here. Because love, pure, stubborn, fearless love is stronger than any charm, any mirror, any spell a wicked heart can create. It always finds a way. Always.